Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Lenard, and that's Lenard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. If you're looking behind the scenes at the behind the scenes or sneak peek video, I'm normally the picture on the right and the guest is the picture on the left. Zoom did an update. I was lucky to get this because somehow I was a tiny box at the top rather than a side by side. So luckily I got this, and this will have to do. At any rate, joining me today, I better say his name before I forget the proper pronunciation, John Griveas. As he said, it's Greek, and I joke back, it's all Greek to me, but I'm bummed, right? My audience knows I can't pass on the lame puns. And what I read in your outreach originally, it says, I bring firsthand experience with how far we've strayed from foundational Christian and constitutional values. That's all I needed to read. Now, that doesn't mean, though, because I had my neighborliness show, my charity show, endless times I go into biblical community versus worldly communism. But I don't need someone on the same page with me to be a guest. Like a few months ago, by the time this airs, I had on Charlie Thompson, who was more kind of a Bernie bro and trying to peddle the communism stuff that's been tried and failed over and over, including the Mayflower Compact. But he was too young. You know, they don't teach history in school anymore. The Mayflower Compact was a communist collective Commonwealth compact long before Marx thought he dreamt up the concept. We had already tried it hundreds of years before he came along, and it failed then too, right on our own continent. But sadly, so few know any history, they don't know that. And Bradford, of course, pivoted because they almost all starved to death and instituted individual rights, personal rights rather than collectivist, private property ownership. And of course, our founding fathers knew all that history, saw that history, and hence our constitutional biblical community republic, not a communist compact. At any rate, I'm looking up, and that's just like the clock is gone. See, Zoom, it got me all screwed up. The clock, I don't even know how many minutes we're in, but I already know I've been rambling too many minutes already. You haven't even spoken yet. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We figured it out, huh? It took us a couple times, but here we are.
Yeah. But again, so I don't need someone who's always going to agree with me on. And I had Charlie Thompson on, and we went back and forth about, what we're kind of basically going to discuss today. As I said in the email, I really wanted to talk to you about it because I didn't want to be the only one saying these things.
Yeah, right.
So before the typical first question, who are you, right? Where were you born? Where were you raised? Where are you now? That sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, so real simple. I'm from the Buffalo, New York area. I was born and raised here in Western New York, in the suburbs of Buffalo, in a small town called East Aurora. It's mostly known for the Fisher Price. Yeah, global headquarters for Fisher Price is there. Moog, which is a huge government contractor for missile defense and things like that. That's in my hometown. And of course, we got the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, which, like the Wings, has had some down years in
Oh
rebuilding, and
boy, oh
but
boy.
I think you're a little further along than we are. I I keep saying the Iser plan has to be declared an Iser fail, and he should be Iser fired. He's out of nostalgia for number 19. Well, that was then, this is now. Right?
Right, right.
He has gotten more grace than anybody else would have gotten, not getting us back to the playoffs in 8 years after
Yeah,
taking over. So, time to move on because we should be in the playoffs by now. You also should be in the playoffs by now. But that's not what you're here to discuss.
that's right. That's right. Uh, Spent some time in the Navy. I was a Navy Seabee, stationed out on the West Coast, and actually, that's kind of what brings us together, you and I today. It kind of was the catalyst for the beginning of my lived experience with this, nonsense that is our, I guess, our society. Really,
Yeah.
yeah,
Parental rights are out the window.
yeah,
And yeah,
right,
the whole basis of all the school board headbutting with parents, and of course, the last administration weaponizing uh, the FBI and DOJ against parents
right,
fighting for their parental rights and
right.
to keep smut. No one wants to ban the book. It's about appropriate. You should be, I call it the new core R's: radicalism, raunch, perversion, and
Yeah,
CRT, racism. No, we need to go back to reading, writing, arithmetic, history, those
yeah,
sorts of things. Parents wanting that are deemed domestic terrorists?
right, right. Yeah, heaven forbid you want to stick to our Judeo-Christian, upbringing. And yeah, the family they spent the last what 40 years at least, chipping away and destroying the traditional family, right? Family values are out the window. You can't, the same thing. A father trying to actually have a relationship with his daughter is often seen as the abuser, the aggressor, the problem nowadays. And
Yes.
it is not just nowadays. In fact, I will say this: I think that as bad as things are now, I'm probably in the best place that I've been as far as being able to bring awareness to my situation, to what I've been going through the last 26 years of my life. Started at the age of 18
Mm.
uh, as an active duty a Navy Seabee. Had met a nice girl, nice enough. Sorry about that. I have my phone on. My apologies.
I didn't
On
hear it.
Beautiful. It's on silent now. But anyways, met a girl. She was nice enough. We started a little relationship there, and things got hot and heavy, and accidents were made, and a child was conceived. I did what I was raised to do in the event that, well, first of all, I should have never been doing the things that that I was doing, but I
Yeah.
knew that since that mistake had been made, then the proper way to correct that mistake then would be to get down on my knees, propose marriage to this lady, and of course, raise our child together and figure it out as so many had done, for generations before us. Um, that that wasn't the case. That wasn't the way that things were going to play out, and I learned very very quickly that I did not and would not and still do not have the support of either whether it be our government, and I'm saying both sides here. We're talking Republican, we're talking Democrat, we're talking independents. Nobody's stepping up, whether they believe, whether they have a
A
Christian,
lot of
strong
them
Christian
talk a good,
faith or what.
yeah.
They all
A
talk
lot
the
of them
talk.
talk a good game, but when the rubber meets the road, yeah, they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, when there's
They
actual
don't
work
do.
to be done, or heaven forbid, you might ruffle a feather here or there. So you know what I mean? But again, I will say this because it is as insane as it is now. I think there has been, or there is, some sort of awakening happening. I mean, more and more you're hearing people talking about needing to get back to the traditional values that we've always had. You know, people even
Absolutely.
talking about, maybe we don't need 24-hour grocery stores anymore, things like that. You know what I mean? You hear more of that, and it's not just from the the
Ultra
Bible thumping
conservative, right,
Christian subset, right?
right.
We're seeing it across the board, across the aisle.
Oh, especially in the black community, which was
Yeah.
normally more conservative, but for economic reasons, FDR
Oh yeah.
converted a lot of the black community to uh, become Democrat. I
Right.
mean, the Republicans freed the slaves.
Right.
All blacks were Republicans after the Civil War, and then slowly the left whittled some away. FDR
Sure.
did it with the great LBJ, the Great Society, but his was really a continuation of FDR's socialism, communism, and the whole black community being destroyed, uh, even with and through the civil rights. Many racists, although that's a cultural Marxist construct.
Right.
We are one human race. We are different subcultures, different skin tones, but we are all one race. But to
Right.
use that term, racists wanted to keep the black family destroyed as an
Hmm.
economic way to
Hmm.
keep them under their thumb since slavery
Right.
they had to give up. And I had mentioned my neighborliness and my charity article. I also have one, whom is babysitting? Who is babysitting whom? About this exact same thing, too, that destruction of the family.
Yeah.
Hitlery and the it takes a village. Now that's actually a biblical concept
Hmm.
in that, right? It takes family, it
Hmm.
takes extended family, it takes friends and neighbors to
Right.
maybe babysit a child and help raise that child, but that is biblical free will versus Hitler's, it takes the fascistic state and they want to
Right.
own your child and you're just the nighttime babysitter. In
Right.
fact, I got a piece on Substack I wrote just the other day about something going on in Michigan. Uh, Republicans control the Michigan House, Democrats control the Michigan Senate. And of course, they just want to throw money at everything, an $80 billion budget. And the Republicans, I'm a fiscal conservative and a traditionalist, saying the school food program. We want to help those who truly cannot help themselves.
Right.
That doesn't mean feed every kid
Right.
every meal. That
Right.
is the separation from church to state. The state owns your child, not you. They want to distance them from you. We are the one providing the food, though no, it's the parents' tax money stolen from them that's being used. So
Hmm.
we want to feed those who really need it, but maintain the family structure because it's more important for a child who, even if it's a single parent home, if that parent can provide breakfast at home at a kitchen table, it is far more beneficial for that child to have that there, not be ripped from the home and given the meal at school, whether they needed it given to them or not. Yes?
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, so the same thing happens in New York. Prior to COVID, you had to apply for free lunch. And that was all that was available, free lunch.
Yeah.
Anybody who was on SNAP was automatically, approved and would get free lunch. And I have no problem with that, honestly.
Right.
Really. I mean,
No, but
don't get me wrong.
that's
I think the program in and of itself needs to be reworked, but I didn't have a problem with.
there's a lot of fraud and
Right.
corruption, and that's
Now,
where it started with free lunch, because hey, they're already at school. But again,
right.
that's the point. The left want to expand and grow
Well,
government
right.
always, whether it's needed or not. And again, it's part of the erosion and separation of the family structure.
Yeah,
That is
perfect
their
example.
ultimate goal. Yes.
Perfect example is post COVID. You no longer need to apply. I think they are going to be bringing it back, but for years now, and I'm saying for like the last 4 years, you no longer need to apply. It's automatic. It's automatically available to all students, and not only lunch now, but breakfast as well. Do you want to know how much of that food gets thrown out?
Oh, I
I'd
do
say
know.
I'd
That's
say probably 90% of it.
Yeah, that's the other part of our argument too. Exactly, is that's happening, and you know it won't end here. Next, it will be,
Right.
well, we got to make sure they have dinner, so we want to feed them
Right.
dinner before they leave. It is always more, more, more.
Yeah.
Never examining the consequences of their idiocy.
Right. No, well, because I think that the consequences are that's the goal,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's
do. I have an article too about supposed unintended consequences,
right,
but we tell you what the consequences will be.
right,
We know, we see it coming, and how
right,
many times have we got to say, "We told you so,"
right.
but you don't listen
Yeah,
about
it's
the slippery
oops,
slope. Yeah,
oops.
but you're right. They pretend to care, but
Right,
underlying the issue is never the issue. It's only power and control for the
right,
left.
right. Yeah, 100%. And especially with the new progressive wing of the party, because there is a difference, I believe, a distinct difference between the progressive and the liberal party. Although the liberals of today are not quite the same as the liberals like when I grew up. When I was a young kid. I mean, I think they what's the saying? You grow up liberal. When eventually you
If
become a
you're not a
conservative.
liberal when
Yeah.
you're young, you've got no heart.
Right.
But
Right.
if you're not a conservative in your older years, you've got no brain.
Exactly. Right.
Yes.
So I grew up in a Democratic family. They were, Bill Clinton supporters and this and that and the other or whatever. And I mean, at the time I was a teenager, I kind of thought Bill Clinton was kind of cool for, getting ahead in
Playing
the
the
Oval
saxophone.
Office. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but then I learned, right? I grew up. But even back then, I don't think that the Liberal Party was quite as everything definitely shifted
Well,
further.
it's definitely not the party of JFK.
Right,
JFK would
right.
be a Republican today. Bill
Yeah,
Clinton was way further left.
yeah,
But indeed, as you're saying, everyone now is way further left than even Bill Clinton
yeah,
was.
yeah.
And you're right. I have in my constitutionalist politics book, in the opening intro, I mentioned Dennis Prager. I've got a
Okay.
meme which I'll try to remember to throw up into the behind the scenes video for those watching there rather than listening on the 25 plus audio platforms. A meme that says you on the old you can lead a horse to water thing, right? You
Mhm.
can lead a liberal to the facts, but you can't make them think. But Dennis Prager corrected me, and I agree he's right. I was wrong. I can admit when I've been wrong about something. There is a difference, as you've alluded to, from a classical liberal and a leftist. It
Yeah,
should say you can lead a leftist to the facts, but you can't make them think. Like a Brandon Strzok, Candace Owens, who was flaky at times,
Yep. Yeah.
Tammy Bruce, who was in the Trump administration,
Yep.
Leo Terrell, uh, Drew, oh, I can't, Van, Jeff Van Drew, the New Jersey Democrat that switched parties, the Dallas mayor that switched parties, all indeed recognized classical liberals can be red pilled and wake up. But an ideological leftist, as Prager points out, you will never get through to them
Right.
because they are strictly emotional creatures and they
That's
will
right.
never admit to ever being wrong on anything.
I firmly believe it's that everyone who is of that extreme left or extreme right, there is some sort of mental illness involved, whatever that may be, and however. So TDS is a real thing.
But so
Um,
was BDS, Biden derangement
right?
syndrome,
Yeah,
right?
a
I,
hundred
I
percent.
I always say if there's not something you leftists can't agree with Trump on, you suffer TDS.
Yeah,
Likewise,
yeah,
the right extreme, uh,
absolutely.
right? It's an emotional, hysterical
Right,
snowflakism.
right,
They don't think; they
right,
only feel. But if there's not something you couldn't agree with Biden on, then you suffered BDS. You're
right.
not a thinker; you're an emoter, like the bus program.
Yeah,
I
you're
am
a
not.
troll. That's all
Yeah,
you are.
I am not for EV mandates, but
Right.
one thing I could agree with Biden on was I don't want our kids smelling diesel fumes. So a bus is a big thing. There's a lot of space for batteries. Our school buses should be EV, propane, or hydrogen.
Mm.
There needs to be a few diesel buses because I played hockey in high school, right? Sports teams, the
Yeah,
band. You
yeah,
need buses that go on diesel that can go longer distance for
sure,
field trips. But
sure.
the primary buses that go around picking up and dropping off kids, sure, I agree. Let's make those EV and charge them in the bus depots overnight every night so our kids aren't smelling fumes. If you can't agree with Biden on that, then again, you're an emotionally hysterical, nonsensical non-thinker.
Right. Yeah, anytime you let emotion do your decision making for you, you've got a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
what is it? Thessalonians or uh, I'll I'll pop this in the video too if I can remember. But the Bible itself isn't just prophecies of Armageddon. It talks about our politics of our time. A fool's heart at his left, where a wise man's is at his right. It talked about our left right
right.
paradigm today and it fits to a T. But
Yeah,
and there's a lot of Matthew 23 Christians that
yeah,
Jesus called snakes, vipers, blind guides. They want the sing kumbaya around the campfire only Jesus. They want to leave out the tough love parts. They don't want to read any of that other stuff. They don't they pick and choose a scripture, avoid the full context.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Which gets us back to biblical community
right,
versus which is God's free will, and we are to want to be our brother's keeper versus worldly communism, which is by force, by theft, by redistribution. You don't have choices. Even though the left loves to talk about being about choice, that's only a dodge for murdering babies.
yeah, right, right.
They're never really about choice because biblical community is free will and actual
No,
choices.
because I can
Uh,
tell you this, I didn't have a choice.
right.
I had no choice. I had no
You,
choice. I couldn't ask her to, I couldn't even ask. My God. I couldn't ask her to abort our child, and I couldn't stop her if she wanted to.
Right.
I didn't have a choice. I still don't have that choice.
We
Men
just had
today still don't have that
we
choice.
just had our life walk here in Michigan the other day to coincide with the Dobbs decision. But
Hmm.
you're right. And we also May 17th had a intro to pro-life culture and I spoke, you know what? I'm a man, a perfect specimen of one, if I dare say. But that's a joke. It's tongue in cheek, right? I don't have that sin of hubris. But do I have a tail? No, that doesn't stop me from being able to speak out about animal cruelty and
Sure.
animal rights. Men are affected by abortion too. Yes, we should have a say in the matter, but you're right. To that point, the separation of the family, we are only seen in those cases as a sperm donor.
Yep. I've had at least one child that I know of that an ex-girlfriend of mine has aborted without my knowledge
Yeah.
or
Well,
consent or,
yeah, without any discussion, right?
right. No
Obviously,
discussion. Yeah.
you're saying now you're pretty sure you know, but
I
yeah,
found out after the fact. Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Came up in a fight, Oh, remember when I wasn't feeling well last week? Yeah, I killed your baby. Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so
But
clearly
choice.
a loving woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
that's feminism.
Yeah, no, that thank you. That's exactly right. But there's, as they say, fourth wave feminism now
Yeah.
is certainly nowhere near what feminism
Oh,
originally. It's like
right.
everything. The NAACP was created by Republicans following the Civil War for blacks to
Okay.
try to help, right? But now the NAACP has been co opted and corrupted. In fact, every year we have a protest when NAACP has a convention here in Detroit
Mhm.
about them funneling billions to Planned Parenthood. And one black woman gave me a sign, and I have a piece on that at Before It's News. Is it racist for a white man to carry a sign about blacks aborting blacks, you know, at an
Right.
event like that? She made the sign, not me. But if I dare hold a sign that says National Association for the Aborting of Colored People,
Right.
they get upset at the term colored people. Well, that's in the name, moron.
Right. Right.
If that's a problem, they should change the name. And it's the black woman who thought of it cleverly, National Association for the Abortion of Color. They're not advancing colored people by killing colored people.
Right. 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 Well,
But
I mean,
again, like everything,
I mean,
the left co-ops and corrupts everything.
it's the same thing, man. Like, look at Planned Parenthood. You would think, you would think if you're completely ignorant, which I was growing up, I'd see, I'd drive by a Planned Parenthood and I'd be like,
Oh, isn't that
that's pretty
nice?
freaking cool that they have that for people to like be able to get information and guidance. Oh no, 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 no. That's where you go to get rid of the mistake.
Right. That's where you go to. Yeah, nothing about planning
Right.
parenthood. It's
Literally
about
nothing about planning.
making sure you don't have parenthood to worry
It's
about.
yeah.
But that's the left
Right.
always. Every bill, like the uh, Inflation Reduction Act, was a money laundering scheme to family, friends, and donors that everyone knew. Again, it wasn't an unintended consequence. We told you it was going to happen. That caused hyperinflation
Right.
because you injected another $1 trillion of fiat currency into the system. It was going to cause inflation, not reduce it, but that wasn't the intent. But of course, to sell it, that's what they call it. Same with Planned Slaughterhood, as I
Right.
call them, to sell it, they call it Planned Parenthood. Oh,
Right.
warm and fuzzy, something positive and
Yep.
good if it were doing what it says it's supposed to by the name.
Listen, not for nothing. There's something to be said for how effective and how long and effective the left has marketed their Marxism.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I've
mean,
got it. Yeah.
they have succeeded in completely infiltrating higher education,
Mm-hmm.
all of our industry, DC.
The
I mean,
union
everything,
leadership, the
everything.
union leadership are a bunch of commies that don't represent the rank and file. That's why we had auto workers for Trump here. People are starting more and more, thankfully, to wake up from, because I've got yet another article I'll mention at thelibertybeacon.com called The Twisting and Warping of Language. Planned Parenthood, nothing to do with Planning Parenthood. Uh,
Right.
Everything they're selling, they twist and warp the language to make it sound warm and fuzzy,
Right.
but does the opposite of
Right.
what they claim it will do in order to be able to sell it.
Because their base,
Orwell, Newspeak.
oh, 100%. And it works because their base, they have gone all in on the least, what we used to call in the debt collection industry, the least sophisticated consumer. Idiots,
Yeah.
dummies. People
And
who are
that's,
too lazy to ever pick up their
yeah.
smartphone and actually do research to find out if the nonsense that they're being fed is true or not.
And I have a quotations chapter in my CTP2 book. And it's mainly, famous people, famous quotes, but there's a couple Joe originals in there. And one is, since I'm a former IT guy, I don't have it memorized, but I'll paraphrase. Never before in the course of human history have all so many people had at their fingertips the availability of facts. But conversely,
Right.
never before in the course of human history have people had access to confirmation bias, delusional manure devoid of reality.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of people want to cling to delusion. And as you
Right.
said, cultural Marxism, it's right
Yes.
there in their plan.
Oh,
Take over the schools, dumb us down.
yep.
And they've back to the core R's: radicalism, raunch, and racism. Anything but the original core R's, like China is actually teaching their children, as well as honor, integrity, work ethic. Those got
Well,
R's in them too.
those countries, third world as they may be, also aren't ripping their families apart, and that's where it all starts here. Listen,
Well,
bottom line is that's where it
yeah,
quite literally all
yeah.
starts in the home.
Well,
No
with
matter
the
what a
exception,
Democrat wants to tell you.
yeah, with the exception of China and the one child policy enforced
Well,
divorce.
right, yeah.
But
Let's not forget about that.
I
Right,
understand what you're saying. In
right,
general, though, be separate and apart from that, when they allow children, they want them to indeed have a
right,
intact mother and a father home, because they don't peddle this genderism crap,
right, right.
this distortion of biological science that there is XX and XY. There's only two
Yeah, that's it.
genders.
Yeah,
The rest are either, there can be on occasion biological
right.
abnormalities, distortions,
Yep.
but that indeed is abnormal where there's a distortion. All these other mental, well, I'm a they, them, that's mental illness.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's sad, and what's so frightening is the fact that I could walk down my street right now, and out of 100 houses, I guarantee you, there's 10 people that at least that agree with all of that, that think it's perfectly okay, and they're probably flying rainbow flag. You know what I mean? Like it's like they have
Yeah.
succeeded
Well, yeah.
in creating this division,
Confusion, complete confusion.
complete
And
confusion.
yes, nothing is everything is a gray, nothing is black and white. It's all gray area. Now
Right,
I have a
right.
show, two of them on gray areas. Yes, sometimes it isn't black or white.
Sure.
There are gray areas,
Yep.
but not everything
That's the
is a
exception to the
gray,
rule.
right? The my truth crap. No,
Yeah.
it's your delusion.
It's your opinion, is what it is. Your truth is your opinion. Just fucking say it. It's your opinion. Sorry.
Yeah. And you're entitled to an opinion. You're
Sure.
not entitled to your own set of facts.
That's right. That's right.
An opinion matters if it's based on reality
Right.
or delusion.
Right. And it is up to me to use my brain to determine whether or not what, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then we go from there.
It's like I've said on the show many times, we've gone back to the 60s. If
Mm-hmm.
it feels good,
Mm-hmm.
do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the my truth era too. And me, anyone and everyone else, who
Yeah.
cares? I do what I want. Consequences be damned.
Yeah.
We're there again.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, and we're seeing it already, a lot of today's youth, again, being involved with right to we've got a lot of young people in the life movement that are seeing all this
Yeah.
stuff. Remember, the 60s loved children, 10 years later grew up and became the Jesus revolution because they woke up to, well, there's got to be more than just me and only about me. And the Jesus revolution came out of that. And we're seeing kind of a new quasi Jesus revolution coming out of this
I
nonsense.
do agree. I do agree. There's something of a revival happening out there.
Just the other day, I saw someone shared a video. Again, a former IT guy. It's so easy to make a deep fake with
Right.
AI and all this.
Right.
So I don't know if it was real, but
Mm-hmm.
we've seen these things in the past. And so I certainly hope it's real. But there was a video, I think it was Brazil or whatever, a cloud formation, a standard kind of fluffy cloud.
Yeah.
But at the end of the cloud, clearly, like the Rio de Janeiro Jesus
Yeah.
peering over the hill,
Really.
he's standing on the cloud. And people caught it, and people gathered, and people dropped to their knees and started praying. So you're
Wow.
right. But the Bible said signs and miracles as we get nearer and nearer to the end days. So
Yeah.
we're seeing more signs and miracles if people are open to them.
Yeah. And I think perhaps it's not that we're seeing more. Perhaps it's just that more of us are open.
And with social media and everything,
Right.
modern
Right.
technology, what used to take weeks to go into newspapers around the world
Right.
is instantly
Instant.
on the internet for anyone and everyone to see.
Yep. Yeah. And if you don't catch it in the first 24 hours, you missed it.
Yeah.
We're on to the next thing.
Right. Oh, I call it the Twitter attention span. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Which is great for ADHD.
Yeah. Which it's both good and bad, right? Yeah, bad things we move on from quickly at times, but we can't forget about them. But I'm glad you brought that up. You do mention ADHD. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little.
Brutal. First of all, I didn't know that I had ADHD until about 2 years ago. So I'm 46 years old. So I literally found out as an adult that my brain that had always been weird, right? Different. I didn't really know it, but I did just based on like interactions and over the years. But then I finally got diagnosed, and along with autism as well, and it was a game changer. Like it really like it wasn't. I, it changed my whole outlook on
Yeah.
everything. Now, I still struggle. I still struggle every day, but now that I know, it's a lot easier to learn and practice new techniques and things like that to help me. Technology is great in that way. You learn how to use technology in the right way. AI has really been very helpful for me because it
Yep.
used to
Good
take,
and bad. Good
you
and
know, great,
bad.
oh,
Yep.
good and bad. And one, see, and that's one of the things, right? Like, then that's where I know, like, I'm a squared away dude. Like, 'cause I realize that, right? My self-awareness is off the charts. So, you know, I'm very aware that all of these good things that we have, there are some bad applications as well. But where AI has helped me, for example, is I love writing. I'm a writer. And it with ADHD, which I didn't realize for a long, long time, it would take me forever. It could take me an entire day to write an important email. And I'm not kidding, an entire day it could take me. Like,
Yeah.
let's say a day, like an 8 hour shift, like work shift, right? So now, you know, I can get that done. It might still take me an hour using AI, but it's done, and I'm confident that it's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've gone through it, and I don't let AI do the work for me, right? But I let it do a lot of that heavy lifting.
Very important distinction in my
Oh,
how to
huge.
write a book and get it published. That's the law, AI and the law. That's
Right.
another article, right? The
Yeah.
law needs to be updated.
Oh, yeah.
Copyright, plagiarism, fair
Yeah.
use, trademark issues.
Right.
Uh, AI may tell somebody this is an original thought, but
Yeah.
it's culled from the internet, which means it could be stealing something from my book, passing it
Sure.
to someone. They use it, but guess what? You didn't do the research to
Right.
check.
Right.
You are the one on the hook for the plagiarism,
Right.
stealing my stuff
Right.
because you allowed AI to hand it to you. And
Yeah.
as a former IT guy, yeah, I've seen this stuff coming from way
Sure.
back.
Sure.
And I have health issues. I've been on disability since 2004. Uh,
Mhm.
More or less a stress breakdown. I'm more OCD on the scale,
Okay.
and that's what led to it. Being in IT, I'd be on call all night. I'd get
Yeah.
awakened in the middle of the night after take a phone call, and then not get back to sleep because of the OCD.
Sure.
Once the brain is going,
Yeah.
it is obsessive
Yeah.
compulsive disorder,
Yeah. I
and
got a little bit
indeed
of
that
that too.
yeah, then I would not get enough sleep. And my body got to a point where it says, you know what? You're not going to slow down. We're going to slow you down. And
Yeah.
the body just shut
Shut
down.
down. Yeah. Yeah. That's never good. And you know what? As men, we do that to ourselves all the time. We don't stop until our body tells us
Yeah.
to. Right
Until,
now, I mean, I'm you know, I'm a small business owner. I own a business. My partner and I, we've owned a small dog treat manufacturing company here in Buffalo since 2015. Turned her little kitchen hobby into an actual brand. Um, and so I do that, but with the way the economy is and everything now, and granted, things have gotten better, but because of my situation, COVID happening, everything, it was kind of this perfect snowball that we're robbing Peter to pay Paul every day. So I find myself back out on the grind. I'm doing things like mowing lawns and stuff like that, and it's, you know, just to make ends meet. And I
yeah.
mean, man,
And
I'm not an
you're,
old guy,
yeah.
but I
But,
mean, I'm
and
older, and my back, you know, my
yes,
sciatica, I've got
every
pain
10
shooting down to my
years,
ankle.
every 10 years it only gets 10 times worse,
Right, right.
exponentially worse. But
Yeah,
yes, exactly, we keep stressing ourselves and hoping it won't catch up with us,
right.
and eventually father time always does.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Does it take the stress breakdown like I had, or a heart attack, or a
right.
stroke to to say, hey, you weren't paying attention. We tried giving you signs.
Yeah.
You didn't slow down.
Right, right. The first panic attack is usually the first sign, right?
Yeah. Okay. At any rate, like with most of my guests, we could talk for hours.
Yeah.
But then, like I say, the Twitter attention span, no one would listen or watch because everybody wants, just give me the TikTok soundbite, right?
Right.
Or the Twitter headline, even though details matter, I keep saying, right? The headlines are misleading. 8 paragraphs into the story, you realize it's the exact opposite
Every
going
time.
on what the headline is telling you. You've got to deal in the details. But no, just give me the Cliff Notes version. So, do you have a website, personal or professional?
I do. I'm on LinkedIn. You guys, you follow me on LinkedIn. I actually just wrote a book not too long ago, too, that kind of talks about my story a little bit. So that information's on there. So yeah, just search me, John Griveas, on LinkedIn.
Yeah, okay. And that's spelled JohnGriveas. Now, the video version will have it spelled out there. Now, what's the book title?
So it's called Staying Grounded, and it's actually a tactical hand guide for fathers, primarily going through high conflict custody situations and how to use AI to help them not lose control of the situation.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, John Griveas. It's all Greek to me, but I'm bummed. I can never pass the lame put. But, even in my Terror Strikes book, there's a comic relief chapter. If we don't try to maintain a sense of humor, we'll go insane.
Very true.
So
Very true.
thank you for stopping.
I love sarcasm.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping by. Take care. God bless.
Thanks, Joseph. Take care.
Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.